I, 23, have always been civil with my 19 half-brother. We were close as kids, but he started to have an attitude at 13 and pretty much stopped being nice and started messing with my things and making fun of me and doing pranks to annoy me, and privacy was gone with him coming into my room and taking my things. Whenever I complained, my stepmom would normalize his behavior and make excuses. My dad never really grounded him and thought that talking to him will get him to behave better. I'm currently in college. I live in a rented apartment and have car to help me get to the university or other places. The car isn't expensive or fancy at all. I saved up for it 2 years ago. I decided to have Christmas dinner with my family. It's the perfect opportunity to be with family since I haven't seen my dad in a while. I arrived at my dad's house and left my purse and my keys on the kitchen island after my stepmom told me to help with dinner. My half-brother started talking about my car in the kitchen while my stepmom was listening and asked if he could take it for a couple of hours to hang out with friends. I politely told him no. He threw a fit and brought up how I needed to relax and not worry, but my answer was still the same. While we were sitting at the dinner table, my half-brother got up, washed his hands, and I thought he went outside. I got busy talking to my dad, and after I got up to wash my hands, I noticed my car keys weren't there. I went outside to ask him and neither he nor my car were there. I lost it. I started calling his phone, but he hung up on me several times. I was furious. I told my dad I'd call the police if he didn't come back with the car. My stepmom jumped to defend him and said I was being unreasonable to call the police. I called him one last time, then I called the police. My stepmom freaked out when my half-brother got picked up by the police. She told me to go explain the situation to the authorities, otherwise he'd spend the night in jail. But I refused, especially since I still hadn't got my car back. Stepmom yelled that I ruined dinner and that it was no big deal, he was going to return it after borrowing it from me, but he didn't really borrow it, and she heard me say no. I don't know what she told the police, but I didn't give permission to use the car. My stepmom's side of family are mad at me for doing this to my brother and hinted that I don't consider him family. My dad's side of family sided with me, saying he deserved it. My dad said I overreacted and I shouldn't have called the police when he disappeared for 4 hours. Not the idiot. He broke the law and got his karma. What would have happened if he got pulled over? What would have happened if he was speeding and caused a crash? He now has a criminal record that he earned himself. If anything, it's his parents' fault for not raising him to respect you and your boundaries. There's no talking to him, so he behaves better in that situation. Stand your ground on this OP, and if it's such an issue for your father, then make it such an issue for you. Good luck. Not the idiot. If tell your dad he raised a thief and that he should be ashamed of himself for letting his wife and your half-brother get away with this behavior. That he's a failure of a father and a husband. That his son is likely to do something worse than this. What else is he going to be? ORROW some girl's body. With that mentality and his mother, I'm surprised you didn't press charges, because I would out of spite for the stepmom. Also, he's 19 and an adult. I'd also tell your stepmom that she's failed as a parent and her attitude showed. Not the idiot. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking it's not a big deal. He took your car without your permission. Your stepmother is making excuses for your brother. Your dad probably just wants everyone to get along. Your brother is used to doing whatever he wants because his mother makes sure he never deals with consequences. I would have done the same thing if someone stole my car. You might want to consider going no contact with your brother and stepmother. Your stepmother will never see as an equal to your brother and will always treat you less than. I am a 21-year-old college student living at home again because my college campus is shut down. I have a 17-year-old brother, a 15-year-old sister, and a 13-year-old brother. So, yeah, I was already sick of babies and babysitting and all that comes with that. Then this year, my parents got pregnant and had a baby girl. She's 3 months old now, and I'd been going a little crazy in the house already because it's noisy being around all my younger siblings. Now with a crying baby too, sleep and school have been difficult. I started wearing foam earplugs to bed, the kind construction workers wear to protect their hearing. Then I bought a pair of noise-canceling headphones for myself and started wearing them over top of the foam earplugs to bed, with a couple pillows piled over my ears. And I've been sleeping a lot better. I've also started wearing the earplug or headphones combination when I'm in classes or studying. I can hear the teachers through the headphones despite the earplugs, and I am not distracted at all. I've also been wearing them when I am doing things like reading books or video calling my friends. And my parents and siblings have started to get upset with me, saying that I've been completely closed off from the family. I can't hear anything like my parents calling my name. They don't like how I can't hear the baby to help out sometimes. My parents like all the siblings to help each other out and help with the baby when we can, and say it's dangerous for me to be blocking out or crying, because what if I'm the only one who could have caught something bad happening, if only I was aware of my surroundings. They've also been upset with me because I've locked my door when I sleep or study, and a few times they've wanted something from me and couldn't get my attention. Like one time some of their family friends came over and they wanted all the family to come have brunch with his family. Which I didn't really feel comfortable with visits anyway, but they were embarrassed that they couldn't wake me. Am I the idiot for wearing earplugs and noise-canceling headphones after my parents had a surprise baby when I am in college, but studying from home? I wouldn't sleep with my door locked if I were you. You have noise-canceling headphones on, and if there was a fire or emergency you could get hurt or someone else could get hurt trying to save you. Having said that, it bothers me so much when people have children and expect other children to help raise them. And you've done your job with all the other kids. This baby is their responsibility, and that's that. Your sleep and school come first. Not the idiot. My twin brothers are 13 years younger than me. Sometimes I would study for tests in the completely dry bathtub or locked in the guest bathroom because my preschool-age brothers would barge into my room to play and hang out, and my mom wasn't trying all that hard to stop them. But the bathroom's locked, and if I yelled I'm in the tub or going to the bathroom they would leave me alone. We're all adults now, 40, 27, 27, 10, and I once heard twin A telling someone that I always took ridiculously long baths. And so I told him the truth. He was shocked. You're the idiot. Wearing them through school and sleep is fine, also locking yourself in. But it sounds like you're doing it the whole day. The baby deaf isn't crying the whole day. You still have responsibilities like chores, or just basic human interaction. Deliberately isolating and not participating because you don't want to is kind of an idiot move. If you don't want to do anything then move out. But if your parents are paying for everything then step up a little. Why is everyone always if they want kids they should care about them, like damn the difference in family value. Me, 30, and my husband, 32, have been married for 4 months. He likes to be independent in everything. Especially when it comes to money. He's bad with money, meaning he never plans for tomorrow and enjoys buying new things every day. I approached him with the idea of having a joint account. And he said okay. But sadly he took it as in his salary was doubled up and kept purchasing stuff that are expensive without even running it through me. It was just like grab money and go spend it. Not okay because we have commitments. I talked to him. His response is that since his money's in that account, meaning he doesn't have to tell me about where he spends it because technically, it's his money. He admitted joint account was bad idea and unnecessary. In his words, am I crazy to think that everyone should just be able to have their own money to spend, regardless of whether they were married or not? We decided that each of us have our own salary, but both equally pay for everything. He agreed long as he could buy whatever he wants with his money. Last night he suggested we go eat at a restaurant. I assumed each of us pay for our own meals. We arrived and he ordered more dishes than me and 2 types of desserts. When it was time for paying, I asked the waitress for separate bills, and my husband looked confused when he heard. He said, "You're not gonna pay for my meal too?" I told him it's his decision that each of us pay for everything individually. Told him this is what separate finances means. He got upset saying he spent all the money he had before coming to the restaurant and didn't think I'd actually decline to pay. So it's fair that I pay for dinner. After he argued and threw a fit I just paid for my meal and was about to leave when he called me selfish and mean. He came home 2 hours later telling me his buddy came and paid for his meal no problem. He said I shouldn't have declined to pay for his meal and was being mean to him. I told him to not take his misplaced anger out on me, but he still argued with me about what I did and how unacceptable it was. After that, I took some time to calm down. We had a talk this morning and when I suggested therapy first thing he said okay, but who's paying? Then reminded me of what I did and how unacceptable it was. He keeps bringing it up and wants me to apologize. In case our jobs are relevant, I'm a secretary and he's a police officer. Not the idiot. Sadly, most couples wait until after marriage to discuss finances. What happens when one of you starts earning more than the other? Definitely, he needs therapy to understand how or why he needs to spend every dollar he earns. As well as you both need financial planning. Potentially the best response is that each of you has to put an X% of your salary to a joint account that covers rent, utilities, emergency fund and other household expenses. Anything left he can spend as he wishes without question from you and you the same. Everyone's the idiot here. Are you married to a toddler? He needs to grow up and be more responsible with his money. Still, you should have discussed this before getting married. I assume you knew what he was like before you married him. In a legal sense, all your money is his, too, at least where I live, so you need to get this under control, or he will waste your money one way or the other. Leaving him in the restaurant wasn't right, you should have paid and dealt with this at home. The restaurant can't use as seen or unpaid meals. When you are married, money becomes joint. Your husband lacks responsibilities and money management skills which you clearly have. This is a huge red flag, especially for a marriage that you should probably remedy as soon as possible, because it will only get worse from here. The fact that he wanted to go out for dinner but didn't have any money to pay shows where his priorities lies, and he's not willing to compromise or understand that being married has a new set of rules, then he's just a kid masquerading as a man. I manage a small cafe in a college town. We are one of the places who doesn't have Wi-Fi because we only have 6 indoor tables, and Wi-Fi encourages people camping tables all day, which is bad for business. We aren't one of those no Wi-Fi, just talk to each other places, it's just better for turnover this way. We don't ask patrons who spend a long time there to leave or try to rush them in any way. We have one regular who I'll call Sam, who comes in every day without fail and camps out for 4 to 6 hours. Sam is about 35 and I believe is a grad student or was one at the nearby university. He clearly thinks he is a beloved regular and talks to the staff and hangs out near the counter every moment he thinks we aren't busy and basically drives us crazy. This has been going on for almost a year, but was especially bad all summer when our front of house staff was all female, just a coincidence based on who quit for the summer. He doesn't exactly flirt with us, but he pesters us with personal questions and boring stories in a way he doesn't pester male staff. During his 4 to 6 hour stay, he uses a Wi-Fi dongle thing he brings from home, laughs out loud at things he's reading online, and then comes up to the counter to tell us, tries to police other customers' behavior around tables or chairs or cream and sugar or trash, and just stares at us waiting to pounce when we don't have a customer at the counter. During all this, he buys one small cappuccino, no tip, and sometimes paws through our day-old stuff and tries to get us to toast or heat it for him, even though it's against the rules. After months of me politely but firmly trying to correct his behavior, he tried to police a group who pushed 2 tables together, saying that isn't how we do it here, this isn't even a rule here. And I snapped. I pulled him aside, told him he's been driving us crazy for a year, that me asking him to leave us alone while we work has fallen on deaf ears, and he's banned. He had a fit of course, but he did finally leave and hasn't been back. The staff and actual beloved regulars are split. Some feel bad for him because they think he's just a lonely dork and he didn't really break any hard and fast rule. My 2 favorite regulars and all of the female front of house staff are happy, but the male staff members and other manager, who doesn't work during Sam's visiting hours, think I was too harsh. Our other banned customers are banned for putting poop on the bathroom walls or stealing, so being annoying isn't a capital offense, but I really believe his annoyingness was bad for business and staff morale. Not the idiot. He purposely harassed female staff out of earshot and sight of male staff. That's predatory behavior. He may not have been being attractive or doing anything specifically creepy, but the fact that he didn't do it with male staff means he knows his behavior is inappropriate and he knows he can get away with it with women, who are typically more afraid to lose their job for being rude to customers. He absolutely knew he was being inappropriate and he didn't care because he could get away with it. Not the idiot. I'm not sure if it was necessary to outright ban him, but he definitely needed to be taken down a peg. Being so possessive to the point of actually policing other customers is just, oh, so cringe-worthy. I think you had to be firm, or he would have taken it wrong. For example, oh, OP's just worried, they'll get in trouble. No problem, I'll make sure to set the record straight with everyone. Or OP's treating me like a peer. They see me as one of them. Not the idiot. People who view themselves as a fun regular are usually the worst. I've had a couple different barista or cafe jobs, and this type of customer is always disruptive, always want help beyond what you're supposed to do, expect special treatment, never tip, and take up tables for hours. And the worst part is that they act like they're your best friend and that they're better than other customers. Not saying that all regulars are bad, but people who like seeing themselves as a beloved regular are seldom beloved. I am a teenage girl living in Italy with extremely religious parents and a now 26-week pregnant 14-year-old sister. My parents raised us with no knowledge of lovemaking and did everything they could to ensure that we couldn't learn about lovemaking in school, such as removing us from school in days lovemaking education was performed and going as far as to remove me from class whenever I had biology in my later school years in case I got any ideas, and they never told us about it either. We were always taught that lovemaking is for married couples who want to have children, and so the only real knowledge of that I had was from my friends and media. My parents think I am still a virgin despite being with my current boyfriend for 2 years, but this is not true. As they never found out about me making love, I suppose my parents assumed their methods worked. However, last year, my sister, who is much braver than I was, came home to my parents and said she had a boyfriend. They got extremely angry, but knowing they couldn't really stop her seeing him without pulling her out of that school, accepted it somewhat. My sister's boyfriend does not come from a religious background. I know his family well as I am friends with his older sister, and they are very liberal. My little sister and I share a room, and long story short, I found rubbers in her pocket when I was tidying her clothes up. I asked her about it, and she told me they had been making for months with the rubbers. I'm still pretty uneducated on lovemaking due to my upbringing, but I have also been using rubbers only for years, so I, perhaps stupidly, assumed she would be fine and decided not to tell my parents. She is of age here and he is a nice boy, so I assumed it was fine. This was a while ago, and I recently came home to a huge argument going on in my house. My parents had found out that my little sister is pregnant and she has somehow been hiding it for all this time. My parents were going crazy at her, making her cry and simultaneously telling her she is stupid for getting pregnant, but also that giving away the baby be wrong. My mother also claimed that an abortion would never be an option, to which my sister said she was too far along anyway. As far as I am aware, abortions are not permitted after the first trimester. At this point, my mother changed her mind and decided that my sister absolutely should have had an abortion. It was a huge mess in which I mainly stood aside. My mother eventually asked my opinion, and I replied, "I think it's entirely your fault she is pregnant, you actively prevented her from knowing how to have safe lovemaking, and ultimately this child should be your responsibility, you have failed her and are abusing her for it." My whole family are now angry at me, and along with this I shared that I made love at her age, and the way they raised us made us deceitful. Now everyone is angry at each other apart from me and my sister, and I can't help feeling like my input made it worse. Not the idiot. You can quantitatively demonstrate that a lack of lovemaking leads to teen pregnancy. I personally believe that withholding information about their bodies and human reproduction from young people is a form of child abuse. I hope you can support your sister unequivocally while also smoothing things over with your parents, because your sister is going to need to know you believe in her, no matter how this pans out, and as you are both still teens, you're going to need your parents too. Not the idiot. So, a few facts for you and your sister, so you guys get some knowledge. No birth control is 100%. Rubbers are about 89%, some stats say 87%, and it depends on if you use them correctly. Is there a way for you guys to get birth control? There are a lot of options, and some are better and have a higher protection rate, like the intrauterine device. Also, if your sister is 26 weeks pregnant, getting an abortion will be very difficult. At this point, she may be better off giving birth.